foundation level in travel and tourism, intermediate diploma in travel and tourism, advanced diploma in travel and tourism, tourism and hospitality management, and an introduction to cabin crew and airline operations. There are also part-time courses available in tour operations and tour guiding, customer services, marketing, ecotourism management, community-based tourism management, entrepreneurship and management, and hotel and front office operations. iTalk has strong links with South Nottingham College, and each year, scholarships are offered to the best two students for a two-year program in the UK.
Of course, yes. I think winning the scholarship, it's not just about being clever or being brilliant, but it's about being respectful and following principles. I think once I return to the Gambia, I'll start working on sustainable tourism projects, and I'll also try to help iTalk.
I've got a two-year scholarship in travel and tourism to South Nottingham College in the UK to iTalk to Gambia. The scholarship has helped me to have this job that I'm in now as the guest relation and the food and beverage coordinator at the Cairo Beach Hotel. I'm hereby recommending and encouraging all students out there interested in the travel and tourism industry to join iTalk in order to have a good and a better future.
For further information, please contact us on 770-1330-890-5151 or on 995-9890. iTalk, building tomorrow today.
Friends, partners, and all others resident in the Gambia. Thursday, the 13th of October, marks International Day for Disaster Reduction. This day is observed and commemorated globally by the international community to bring to light, focus, as well as attention the global challenges faced by all nations and communities arising from the negative impacts of climate change and human activities on the environment and society in general, which inevitably result in many instances in disaster. The theme for this year is children and young people as partners for disaster risk reduction. The global focus on children and young people is indeed relevant and timely, considering the vulnerability, of course, of children and young people to disasters of all forms throughout the world. An estimated 66 million children globally are affected, as we are told, by disaster every year. More and more people suffer from floods, for example, and other natural disasters. And children are some of the most traumatized when these hazards occur. They often have difficulties, for example, in coping with unexpected and very painful interruptions to their lives. And in many cases, they get separated from their parents and loved ones through, of course, abduction in some instances, forced labor, or rather abduction in the guise of adoption as well. This unique perspective of children, therefore, and young people must be recognized, understood, and appreciated, and therefore adequately incorporated or included in all disaster risk reduction strategies and programs. Repeatedly portrayed as victims of disaster, therefore, and climate change, children and young people can, and indeed should also be encouraged to participate in disaster risk reduction activities, and as well as decision-making processes as well. That is, children must be on the front line. Children and young people must be involved in disaster risk reduction, because indeed they sometimes lose their relatives, loved ones, entitlements, schools, classrooms, books, houses, dignity, and even lives to disasters. Child protection, therefore, must be a priority before, during, as well as after disaster. Children need to be protected for sure from harmful behaviors and practices, especially where they have to move away from their homes as a result of a disaster. Under such situations, therefore, they often feel insecure, at risk, and of course unsafe from negative vices such as increased child trafficking, child labor, dropping out of school as a result of disasters. Clearly, therefore, we must all agree that children's psychosocial well-being, as well as their physical security, is being routinely affected by disasters. It is therefore of paramount importance in disaster risk reduction programming for any country, if we are to collectively harness their potentials as well as positive energies towards building safer and more resilient communities. In this regard, therefore, children should fully participate in measures to tackle disaster risks and climate change by helping to disseminate key messages and protect their communities, therefore, and indeed themselves. This can be done through radio programs, TV programs, village gatherings, school visits, among others. They can also effectively do this if they are given, of course, equal opportunity as citizens in their own right to contribute as well as engage in disaster risk reduction activities within their communities. Fellow Gambians, partners, friends, and all residents in the Gambia, please remember that hazards or disasters have no borders. They don't have color, neither do they consider economic levels. Hazards are natural, while disasters surely are man-made because they are human. They result from our own human decisions and thus are within our powers to change because we make them happen ourselves. The social groupings of women, for example, children and young people, including the poor, are those that suffer most from disasters. These groups, therefore, need to be fully involved in disaster management activities, from the planning stages right through to the implementation of risk reduction measures as well as their monitoring and evaluation, as they are the best judges, for sure, of their own vulnerability. This full involvement, therefore, will provide the basis for sustainable solutions to the root causes of disasters within our communities, rather than repetitive bandages. Frameworks can be global and national, but surely we should agree that solutions and actions usually are predominantly localized, or we say local. In all this, it is IEC, or Information, Education and Communication, or awareness creation and building, which is critical. The United Nations superbly led the global awareness in building on the effects of climate change, for example. The same awareness building is now being led by the same United Nations on disaster prevention and the need, of course, for resilience. This global awareness campaign also recognizes the interlinkages, for example, between disaster risk reduction and climate change adaptation, as the two, we should all agree, are mutually reinforcing issues that need to be integrated in order to advance the cause of national development. Therefore, the role of children and young people is paramount in every activity that builds support as well as resilience. The national momentum towards making our towns, for example, cities, communities, infrastructure, as well as our economies, resilient to the negative impacts of climate change, and human-induced